side, and it's just, to me, honestly incredible. This is the fourth game in a row here. These teams are just basically saying, we are drafting team fight. We are going to go directly at each other, and it's just going to be about who actually executes the game plan the best, as you were saying earlier on, and neither team is willing to back down from that challenge.
And that's where we really see why these drafts are so 50-50, why these drafts are so close, is just because they aren't giving up anything. They're getting a very safe, stable hero for their safe laner. They're drafting team fight, wombo combo, doing whatever they can to get the leg up. And it's just those small advantages. And once everything levels out, it comes down to two things. What is my mid laner doing? And how well are we getting our spells off in these team fights? Because really, the differentiating factor in at least 2 out of those 3 games so far has been the success and the failures of both Bryle and Gunnar. If your mid laner is getting off to a better start than the other one, you just have that little aspect of chaos in those fights where maybe there's an Ember Spirit running at both my supports and I need to protect them. I need to sit in front of them. Or perhaps this Void Spirit is finding his way into the backline. He's delaying your initiation over and over again. And really, it's just those two aspects. Everything else is basically the same. These teams are so very close skill level wise. Of course, I'm sure both of them would disagree with that statement. But again, both these teams, we haven't seen anything sort of surprising come out from them. I know they said, both of these teams said that they were kind of holding back their ideas, waiting to see if they really needed to pop something out of the bag, maybe in that TI qualifier slot. But you definitely don't want to lose if you're 4 Zoomers here. You want to stick to your guns, play exactly how you have in basically the entire tournament, and just really reload. Go again. If you lose, you lose. If you win, you win. Because they definitely want to bring this to a game 5.
Yeah, and I just feel we haven't really seen that yet. It's just been so far through 3 games into this fourth, just a matter of no pocket strats, nothing really out of the ordinary. It's just sort of who plays the better fundamental Dota, which, I don't know. Sometimes you say that and people sort of roll their eyes and get a little bit bored and maybe tune out. But when these two teams are playing, it doesn't matter if there's no crazy out there strange strategy. The fact that they just go at each other with incredibly sort of high skill and highly execution dependent lineups means we're always going to have something sort of entertaining, and one minor mistake can really sort of cost a team a game. So it gets kind of high stakes when both teams agree to effectively sort of play along similar lines, as we are moving really through the final phase of the bans here. Both teams, I believe, just sort of focusing all in on that middle lane. Undying with the TA and Puck bans for Zoomers. Going to take away the Ember here. Not sure if they're really concerned enough to ban out the Void again. We did see that for Brau the last time around. It's actually the Storm, though, that they will remove. So still a Spirit, but not quite the same one.
Yeah, and now we've seen Invoker played so much at Anti-Major, you can't help but think that both these teams are sort of thinking in that realm. But at the same time, do Undying really want to pick Invoker into Mars again after seeing sort of the display that happened? I don't think they want that at all. I think maybe they're going to look for a hero that's going to sort of pass by it and, okay, Ryle Tiny, one of the best in the game, doesn't really have that many counters. Most of them are already out of the pool, so I'm 100% for it. This is going to be another show for us.
And another sort of melee core to potentially benefit from the mag. Not really sure if they're going to care too much about hitting Bryle up with that, but the fact that it'll be there in general is really going to sort of help us get through one of the biggest issues we've seen on non-Bryle Tinies, where they don't necessarily find all those items as quickly as they need to. If Bryle ever feels like, maybe I'm not finding the pickoffs I need, I'm starting to slow down a little bit, then the mag can just hit him up with that Empower, and he's going to be able to maybe speed that timetable up that little bit more to try and catch up. So normally that's not an issue for Bryle. He is pretty on point with these rotations, but even if they're not, you have that fallback plan.
And you also just have those 3-4 initiators on your team, and this going to be Gunnar Mars now?
I believe so.
I think they're just going to shift everything down, yeah. And now we're going to see sort of Brax come into his own on the Beastmaster. You have that inner beast to buff up your Luna. At the same time, man, these drafts, the stakes are higher than they have been in any of the other games. Both of these teams are so capable of both killing Roche and killing towers, where if something breaks, if one team fight goes awry and you're just a little bit too close to one of those objectives, they're going to take it instantly. Undying might be a little bit worse at that, at least tower push wise, but having the Tiny sort of shore up that issue, they're definitely going to get something. And I do really like this Beastmaster. I like that now they are going to have another hero to sort of spam out those waves. It's a control hero. You're going to get a lot of vision coming in from those Hawks. And if they can catch wind of what Saberlight is doing, then it will be getting a little bit more complicated for how Undying actually get into these fights. But something they've done incredibly well is it's not just Saberlight. They're going to have 3-4 initiators in these team fights where who's going to find what? Do they really want to chain everything together? Because if Saberlight can get maybe a 2-man RP, screw it into a 2 or 3-man chrono, the team play is just going to be wild on the Undying side. And to that degree, how are Zoomers going to handle it? How are they going to deal with it? Slotting Gunner on this Mars now means that you have a very similar blink timing over on that Tiny, where it's going to be, again, the mid laners butting heads. Who's going to be able to get more accomplished in that mid to early game, or mid to early late game? And if they are able to get anything done, where are the objectives? Because both these teams, again, they push so quickly. They're able to get really a lot done in a very short amount of time.
And you mentioned for Undying, the fact that they were going to have sort of multiple initiators. You're already sort of looking and watching for the Tiny and the Magnus, but really, I think for me, the big thing that's going to happen here, you've got initiators, at least among the cores, on both sides, but where the difference really is going to come in, as it has been a couple of times in this playoff run, is going to be Moonmeander on this line. We have seen him in the past just sort of throw caution to the wind. He has no fear of going in for those initiations, and if he is successful, if he just gets something like that Blink Dagger, jumps in, gets the Hex and the Earth Spike down onto heroes, then Saberlight and Bryle aren't actually going to be the ones that you necessarily need to be all that worried about. So the cores sort of have equivalent maybe damage and initiation, but if Moon is going to be able to sort of put his stamp on this game, none of the cores on the 4Zoomer side have that same sort of impact, at least not in terms of initiation. They're going to be obviously more reactionary in their maneuvers. So Moon, it may come down to the sort of sacrificial sort of playstyle that we've seen from him already in this series, but if he's in there, it is going to be something that gets Undying maybe over the top in a lot of situations.
Wish I'd learned how to...
And it's something that 4Zoomers really have had their lineups geared towards pretty much the entirety of this tournament, where they want to play this reactive style. They want to be able to have that knowledge before going in. We see Ocean now over on that Phoenix, and again, they have Mars Phoenix. They have fantastic abilities. They have fantastic ultimates, but if they use it, if something gets whiffed, if something sort of misses out or isn't as effective as they sort of think, then the punishment is going to be there. This is going to be the high stakes match where one thing goes wrong and then suddenly the repercussions are going to be felt everywhere. And really, they can't have any pressure on them. For Zoomers, they need to just say it's a best of one now. Tomorrow, or rather, after we win this game, it's going to be another best of one. Just take it by the by. Let's have those amazing individual performances we already know we have. Even though Gunner's sort of on an atypical hero for him, I think if he can put out on this Mars, then this is going to be sort of the first good sign for them.
Really sort of came up short on the Invoker in that previous match, but if he can sort of channel that Ember play that we saw from him in Game 2, where he just completely took over the game, then that is going to be exactly what 4Zoomers sort of need here, try and fight their way back into it. And so far in the middle lane, Gunner just going to be sort of farming up at the equivalent rate. Bryle does really not enough to him right now. Ooh, okay, not enough to him, and doesn't help that he sort of misses on the Avalanche. So Bryle is going to have some difficulties trying to get onto Gunner early. We might need to see a rotation from him, or Gunner's just going to have to straight up step out of line. So until really either of those two things happens, the Mars should be in a good spot here to just try and farm up.
Yeah, and really, Gunner, you're not going to see him get too aggressive out on the map. Even those early rotations, you're ganking a Magnus or you're going to be ganking a Void. The Void is very well equipped for you. We've already seen the Void versus Mars lane twice now, where if you hit your Spear, you need more damage after it. You don't have enough enough lockdown-wise to hold him out of that leap range, where he's going to be able to heal either your Rebuke or your Spear. So you really need to make that call pretty early on. And if any of those rotations fail, again, this is more time, it's more space. Undying, they need to get those Blink Daggers. That's the one drawback. They do need to farm for a lot of those timings, where 4Zoomers might be able to get aggressive a little bit earlier. They're really more XP dependent, whereas Undying, they do need those Blinks. They are kind of bound to that.
Yeah, that is a slight downside for them, but I don't know. I'm not really sure if 4Zoomers can apply the pressure that they'll need to sort of slow down those item timings. If they can, obviously, they put themselves in a solid position. As you mentioned, you'll have the Supernova, you'll have the Roar, you'll have the Arena. Obviously, all of that gets better with the itemization, but you don't need them to be able to make aggressive maneuvers. So it's going to come down to how much can they get out of these lanes. Can they hit those level 6s first? Can they get Moon Meander here for that first blood play, as Husky is going for it, but not going to be able to sort of close ranks fast enough. Saberlight hits him up with the Shockwave, and that sort of pulls them out of position to allow the Lion to fall back. But relatively easy play there. They just throw down the sort of Nature's Grasp into a Lucent Beam from Sammy, and all of a sudden your Lion is on the retreat. But now Husky's trying to do it himself, and this is not exactly going to go fantastically for him, taking a fair bit of damage, but Saberlight, I don't know. He needs the skewer here if he wants
dead.
it.
Yeah, he's got it.
Okay. He was holding that point for a little while, but does go in for the skewer, and that is going to be first blood to Undying's side. Sammy, I mean, there's absolutely no way he was going to be able to help there. He would have had to push all the way over, and all he really has is a level 1 Lucent Beam, so just going to have to let that one go. But Sammy at least is farming relatively well in this lane. 16 last is on the board for him, so for giving up first blood there, yeah, it's unfortunate, but as long as Sammy continues to farm, you're going to be just fine in this lane. But that is getting a little bit concerning. Get down the Earth Spike into the Shockwave. The Skewer is not available due to a lack of mana, so Moon is just going to have to fall back. Not going to be able to make it out.
Yeah, it's just a little tick up. Sammy, he's got the boots of speed, so easy. Not much you can do about it.
If Saberlight had the mana for the Skewer, maybe that fight goes a little bit differently, but didn't quite do the math correctly there, and Sammy is able to sort of have the last laugh on that kill. But, well, I don't know. If you're Saberlight, I don't really think you care too much about that one either. Just like Sammy, you are sort of farming up relatively well in this lane. Not massively, but he's keeping pace with the Luna through the first couple of minutes, so that is going to be just fine for him. No points up in the Empower just yet either, so he will continue to sit in this lane for as long as he can, as Sammy gets hit up by the Shockwave, but Moon Meander's not really there to follow it up. But Moon does get off the pull, or most of a pull. One melee creep's going to sort of keep on pushing forward, but that is going to sort of affect the equilibrium here. Maybe they can sort of bait Sammy a little bit further out, but Husky pushing forward, looking for the Nature's Grasp into the Lucent Beam, but Saberlight trying to save the day with the Shockwave. It's not going to be enough, though. Moon just cannot get out. That Nature's Grasp is just really too big of an actual obstacle for him, and now Saberlight has to skewer to get away. The Lucent Beam came out in the middle of it, but doesn't actually cancel it once it sort of starts going. So Saberlight's going to be okay, but that is Moon Meander taken down.
Yeah, and again, Moon Meander, if he doesn't have 10 deaths, he's not doing his job right, and he really does sort of fall behind on the line a little bit more than his other heroes, just because you don't have the Bushwhack, you don't have the Slave, so you don't have a very natural farm increaser. And as long as Sammy Boy is able to just hit these creeps, he can really quite hard zone off this Magnus. Saberlight really just has to pull for himself, sort of wait. Not sure if this Ring of Health will actually be completed into anything, but he does need it just to sort of survive down here. Keep spamming out those Shockwaves to get those ranged creep blast hits.
Sammy, nah. Shockwave into Earth Spike is a nice bit of damage, but again, Saberlight really just doesn't have the mana. He could have maybe popped the Soul Ring, but at that point, you've already thrown out really everything you have. So if he'd have really gone in for the Shockwave, you wouldn't have been able to follow it up. Sammy would have just tried to hold his ground, and at that point, you're not really sure how that fight goes. So it's not even really worth the attempt at that point. But now Moon, he's on the move. He's going to stack up first, looking to make his way mid. His teammates, though, already sort of made this rotation. Dubu got in to try and go on to Gunner, but the Mars has already fallen back. But at least you secure the rune for Bryle. He's going to be able to bottle up that illusion, so is going to sort of fill him back up, and Moon Meander will make his way back down bottom.
Yeah, and it's those little rotations that you can make with those ranged fours where, oh, I'm going to stack for my team, I'm going to try and accelerate them. If Brow's able to get his Blink Dagger a few minutes earlier, he's going to be very happy with me, so I'm going to do it. Maybe he's going to let me take over his lane in a little bit, and Bryle has just been farming. They've been playing the macro game. Both sides of the coin have really just been farming up as much as they can, and with that just being an illusion rune 6 minutes in, we're not going to see either get too aggressive, except for Gunner, who's trying to make a rotation in with the arena, and he might just need to pop it to get Duba for free here. Yeah.
No, maybe not
Easy
the highest
kill.
value kill, but you are gonna secure it with no real resistance. I mean, the Cold Feet technically comes out, but Gunner well and truly did not care about that. So makes the rotation, drops down the arena, gets himself a bit of a kill for free, and he's back to the middle lane with the TP really before the Tiny's able to do too much with it. But Ryle is on the move. He is looking to make his way down to the bottom lane, and if they could pick off the Luna here, that'd be big. But yeah, that ward completely spotting that one out. So they know what's up. Sammy's going to fall back. Husky's just going to sort of play goalkeeper here in the tree line just in case, and a lot Undying can do unless they really just go in anyway. They're looking for it. They get the Earth Spike down into the Shockwave. They're just going to go all in, and this is risky, but it's going to presumably work out. Sammy's just sort of trapped in the tree line. And there's going to be the toss play. Saberlight, though, actually gets it with the right click first, but okay. Sure, your opponents have the vision, but Undying just go in with overwhelming force. 4 heroes in, and they do find it. Now, Bile, unless Tomato wanted to commit the Chronosphere there, they weren't going to do it, and apparently he didn't feel super comfortable with that one. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they could have gotten the kill.
Ooh,
there's not a lot of damage for Tomato, but now we've got about 4 or 5 heroes hanging out in this sort of east side jungle area. Saberlight's going to start throwing out that Empower, and that's going to speed things up for Tomato a little bit here as he works his way towards... actually, what is he working towards here? He's kind of split things up a little bit. It looks like he wants the Yasha and then the Echo Saber.
Yeah, Tomato and Echo Sabers, that's... I don't know. It feels a little bit strange. Maybe it's just I'm getting a little bit more shut down than I'd rather want, so I want this little tick up of damage. I'm sure the Mom would also be pretty good, because right now he doesn't have a good way to get his HP back. He's just kind of sitting at 400 HP, hitting a large camp, so he does need to be careful. There is definitely scouting here, and if he gets speared sort of on this tree right here, he would easily go down, but they're catching wind. They have the ward themselves, seeing Gunnar make the rotation over, so going to be another whiff.
Yeah, that's... I don't know. That just feels a little bit too risky. I mean, they get out of it, but as you said, Tomato doesn't really have much. He is picking up the Possessed Mask at least, so that's going to sort of get him a little bit of that HP back, but didn't really feel like he had enough durability to sort of be farming in that spot, but Four Zoomers can't really pull the trigger in a way that would have taken Undying by surprise. So high risk, but it is going to sort of pay off for him. He's still finding the farm. The Empower is going to be speeding him up here, and as of right now, Four Zoomers really aren't going to be able to put too much pressure onto him, although Brax is sitting on his ult and maybe looking to make a move, but yeah, another ward spawning him out. So the vision game so far, really for both sides, has been absolutely fantastic. There just aren't major opportunities yet.
And that's where I'm not sure who it exactly favors. I feel like it's gotta favor Undying though, because right now they don't have a hero that can very easily go up versus this Beastmaster. It is sort of last picked in a game where Brax hasn't been able to make his very seamless rotation over to the mid lane just yet. I'm assuming they don't want to commit the wards or at least the vision. Instead, look for the easier kill onto Dubu up here, and oh, they're just going to immediately egg for it. Well, he's assuredly dead.
It's getting out the Ice Blast though, so Brax will get
Gunnar
clipped by it, but can they really do this? Brile needs the Avalanche.
They're baiting him.
He's going to be able to throw it out. The toss back will be there as well. So all of a sudden, Gunnar, you're trapped under the tower. He's going to get Hex up. There's Tomato in for the Chrono as well. The RP actually pulls him into that Chrono. That is absolutely massive, but they need the kills here, and they don't have them yet. Brax is able to get away. Gunnar surviving as well. There just wasn't enough damage. They're not really going to be able to make this happen unless Brile goes for the toss play going forward. But Gunnar dropping down the arena. Is it going to be enough? No. The Avalanche actually keeps him from really doing any damage. Now Ocean... is he going to get away? No. Skewer will cancel it, but Brax is at least able to make it out because of that sacrificial play. So you get one of the cores out of there, but at the end of the day, 2 supports on Undying sacrifice themselves for a nice pair of kills.
Yeah, and you did use all of your abilities. Everything is off the deck now. Unfortunately, Dubu wasn't alive to throw that Ice Blast over, so he does just have it now. Not really too many opportunities. At the same time, Moon wasn't level 6 just yet, so he wasn't able to provide that finger damage at all. And he will be level 6 now, so we might see Undying trying to make one of those cute plays in the side lanes, but again, these are all kills that are really hastening up this timing, and Brile, he's got a Blink Dagger much sooner than the likes of Gunnar will have his, because Gunnar decided to go for that Orb of Corrosion. He wanted to have that little bit more damage. It's very good for on that hero. You're able to push up those waves a little bit faster, but you've set yourself at sort of a almost purposeful disadvantage where you are 725 gold behind this Tiny. And now if Brile is successful, if he's able to find you, or even bigger, if they're able to find Brax top, this is going to be a disaster for them.
Not think the Beastmaster can get away. The Roar's coming back up, though, but there's going to be the jump. The Avalanche toss play in. The Ice Blast connects, and Brax, yeah, he's dead. Moonmander's going to make sure of it with the Finger of Death there, getting his first stack up, and they even clear out the creeps there, too. So Brax is going to give up a little bit of extra gold after losing his own life, and these are the plays now that they have to be so careful about. Bryle is not going to be slowing down with this Blink Dagger picked up, so they've got to be wary of that sort of initiation coming at them. Maybe not constantly, but pretty frequently, enough where they need to sort of back away from that north side jungle. They're eyeing up Tomato for a moment there in the middle lane, but the Faceless Void has already fallen back. You're not really going to be able to catch up to him, so instead, they go after the tower, but this is going to get a little bit risky as well. Saberlight has the RP. The Ice Blast is not going to connect, but they force him to fall back. Gunnar, though, wants back in. He's looking for it. Can he actually secure it? I think he can. Actually, Brax is the one to get it, but the arena will be dropped down into the spear, into the Meteor Hammer coming out there. That keeps Saberlight locked down. They will find the kill, and now Undying might be in some trouble. Bryle having to use his abilities to actually bail his own teammates out there, so... Okay, if you're 4 Zoomers, you got the kill, you got the tower. That one works out pretty well. Who has that hammer? Is it the Phoenix?
Yep.
It's the only thing he has other than a smoke. Okay. Ocean knows what he's about there.
Yeah, and they are pulling ahead on all 3 of their cores, just slightly further than Undying. And something that really we only see Saberlight do when he plays this hero is he rotates very, very early, tries to get that empower to his allies. He doesn't take over his offlane for himself. It's always at the benefit of his teammates, and that's why we don't see this early blink coming out. He's actually saying, okay guys, you need what you need, I'll do what I can, I'll try to make us tanky. And Sammy, oh no.
He's not getting out of that one. The living armor was applied, but by that point it's already too late. He's taken the damage, and Dubu can actually be able to be the one getting the kill there. So Bryle's not going to be able to grab it for himself, but that's still a big pick off. Sammy Boy ends up getting taken down. His teammates, though, looking for a play elsewhere on the map, going after the tier 2, but Moon Meander's going to TP in. There's going to be the supernova drop down, though, and well, Bryle, that's a bit of a weird one. He does complete the TP. He's going to get hit up by that supernova, but maybe they can get her kill in return as they do spot out Husky. They should be able to take him down here. And yeah, they will be able to get that kill, and they stop the push onto the tier 2. So at the end of the day, the 1-for-1 is really not going to move the needle much for either side, but it puts an end to that push, and 4 Zoomers have to fall back.
And it gives you now a pretty massive safety net where Sammy Boy is just going to be able to farm uncontested. He TPs to that bottom tower without any fear of them just immediately cutting in, trying to find him again, sort of by himself. And Gunnar did have an Invis rune, but it looks like, again, he was unable to make a play. But there are some pretty big items being completed on the 4 Zoomer side. Blink Dagger being finished up on that Mars. There's a full Solar Crest on the Beastmaster. So really, Brax is going to stay up here. He's going to continue to force someone to play versus him. And if he's getting away with it, oh, Sammy Boy bottom.
Bryle's going to try to jump
That's
in onto him, but there's the Eclipse.
Actually, Bryle's getting punished here.
Eclipse into Overgrowth, locking him down. The Finger of Death, though, for Moon is going to still get them to kill onto Sammy, but Moon Meander and Bryle will both be taken down immediately afterwards. Gunnar's able to push in onto him, and he will pick up the double kill, but to a certain extent, you do still bring Sammy Boy down, but you lose 2, and you lose the tier 1 tower as well.
And it's really just because Tomato, he isn't able to make these very easy calls. He wants to stay where he knows there aren't too many heroes. And actually, Gunnar, he could get a freebie on Dubu here, and yeah. And now Tomato needs to be very careful.
Yeah, Brax had the roar, so Faceless Void simply has to retreat, and 4 Zoomers really starting to look pretty good here. Kill-wise, they're not pulling massively ahead, but a 4K net worth lead for them at that sort of 16-minute mark is going to give them a little bit of control in this scenario as Saberlight runs into Sammy, TP's away. The Mask of Madness prevents Sammy from actually throwing out the Lucent Beam to cancel that, so Saberlight will simply back out, but there's not a whole lot accomplished in that situation. You can't actually push the lane out too far as the Luna was there to sort of shut him down, and obviously you're not going to solo RP. You don't have the damage to really follow it up. So Saberlight falls back. Roche. There's going to be the Roche attempt. They're going right in for it, and I'm not even sure Undying realizes it's happening, and even if they do, it's feeling like it's already kind of too late. I don't think they get anyone over here in time to actually contest it.
And really, it just feels so safe, not even throwing the AA blast, so I genuinely don't think they had any idea. You see them sort of rubbernecking now like, oh, maybe we should have made that play a little bit sooner. And this is where the pressure is definitely on. Undying are going to have to rely on their spell usage, their execution, to sort of carry them out of this pit that they're sort of being dug into. And again, this is all space where Sammy Boy is going to be able to farm. He's going to be able to accelerate his own game, not even going for that Mantle style. I think he's got a Sanjin Yasha queued up just so he can sit in front with his big beefy boys. And while you are taking down this tower bottom, this is another Glyph Forest. And I think now you have to either flood TP's top for Undying, or you need to just be prepared to lose this tier 2.
Yeah, they'll finish up the tier 1. Back up in the top lane for Zoomers. Well, I mean, they want it. Ocean's going in for the Meteor Hammer, but they're not quite taking it that quickly. But with the Meteor Hammer damage in, yeah, they will be able to finish it off there. Still no TP in from Undying. Instead, they're going to go for the smoke. 4-man smoke here. The Chrono is available. They've got the Echo Saber up on Tomato, so he's got a little bit more damage to work with. And Moonmeander is 10 seconds away from that Finger of Death. So if they run into anybody, they could very well find the kill. But as of right now, the path that they're on isn't going to take them directly into any opponents, but maybe if they keep on going to the north, they could run into Sammy Boy. The Luna wasn't the one to grab the Aegis there earlier on, so if they could find that, it would be a nice kill for them. But right now, they're not advancing any further. They're just hanging out in this west side jungle.
And that's when for Zoomers, they have this Hawk Vision, they have all of the spells they can throw on, they're very non-committal. And you have to actually be, cancel his TP. Tomato now has to make the long walk, and this is a big problem for them.
Ice Blast still coming in. It's really only going to hit Ocean, while the Roar was deployed on the Moonmeander into the Finger, though, and oh god, Ocean just getting punished for that one. Tries to go in for the Icarus Dive. Now Bryle getting the toss back onto Sammy. Can they keep him locked in place? They need the RP. They are going to be able to connect. The Eclipse is going, though, so a little bit of damage is being dealt, but
all the way back
pulls Sammy in, and he is not getting back out. Good play in there from Undying. They stop the push. They need to save the tower, and they do. 33 HP, so it's going to just take sort of a strong breeze to blow that one down, but for now it stays up. Tier 3 tower remains standing. They get themselves a couple of kills, including that all-important one onto the Luna, and they hold the line, at least for the time being.
Yeah, and it's perfect spell usage. They somehow are able to get that Hex onto Ocean. I don't think even Ocean realized how wild his play was. You aren't able to get that egg off, and it's that disjointedness that maybe they get a little bit too sloppy before Zoomers can definitely throw away their game. And Tomato, he still has his Chrono. He's sort of hunting around here. And really, Undying with that smoke, they were trying to catch the Luna, making just clean rotations to the jungle, trying to make that call that, hey, it's 1840, we're going to see if the Sammy Boy Luna walks up here, we know where his Ancients are at, we're going to play around that fact. And now bottom, he needs an Ice Blast, I think, but here comes Husky.
Husky dropping low, Ice Blast coming in.
Yep. Tip your Dubu.
Good shot. Dubu's able to make it happen, and yeah, value-wise, whatever, right? It's Husky, he's not worth a crazy amount, but the Treant Protector in this situation, he's just trying to sort of pick up experience and push out this lane, so being able to take him down is going to really slow that up a little bit. It's going to prevent that Treant from really hitting that level. It's going to make sure 4 Zoomers can't push that lane out themselves, and it now opens up an opportunity for Tomato and Saberlight to get in onto the tier 1 tower mid.
Oh, and Gunner, he's trying to frontline. He still has that Aegis, but okay.
Spirit comes in. Ocean's going
Pop
to
the
drop
egg.
down the Supernova. Can Tomato finish it off? No. The Roar's going to lock him down, but the Ice Blast is coming through here as well, and it does connect,
Disaster.
but yeah, it's not going to be enough. The Supernova stun comes through. Sammy picks up both kills, and if you're Undying, it's time to go. They need to leave. Bryle's, he's got the blink. He might just want to leave, but he's trying to basically hold it to see if he can go in for some sort of kill, but that's really not going to work out for him. His teammates are getting picked off. Moonmeander is going to be taken down. They lose Dubu here as well in the river. And that, I don't know. When you see Gunner pushing in like that, maybe that's the indication for Undying that something's coming their way. Instead, they just sort of wait too long. They overstay their welcome, and they do get punished pretty heavily for it. 4 heroes dead, and 4 Zoomers are back to pushing.
And I don't think they are going to be able to move over towards that tier 3 top, even though I'm sure they'd love to do that. But again, if you lose these fights, if you lose to their team fight, immediately, tier 2, gone, off the table. You can't do it anymore. And Undying, the closer these fights get to their base, the more high stakes this game is going to be. And now, you don't have Egg, you don't have Arena, you're not going to have an Aegis in 4 seconds here. I think Undying, now they smoke up, they say, we need to get aggressive, we need to find some picks to slow down right now, because right now, 4 Zoomers are not only out farming us, but they are sort of outplaying us. And even though it's only 15-11, again, it's because we aren't seeing them make these crazy plays. Neither team wants to throw away what would be their big lead. And really, I think they're in mid, they thought that they would have been able to get that time lock off. We saw Tomato get very greedy with that spell and 100% gets punished for it. But here we go. Smoke. Tomato wasn't actually in it, so maybe he's sort of the bait. But again, if they're able to get Sammy Boy, he is actually farming his Ancients here. But the scan, it's perfectly placed.
Yep, he's going to see that move coming, falls back. He was already sort of starting to fade away from that west side jungle, so it's just going to confirm that there was someone coming at him, so he does back himself away, and this smoke play for Undying really is not going to be able to accomplish a whole lot for them, and the question now is really where else can they go? You see Tomato sort of making his way down to the bottom lane. Brow's going to TP in with him, but there's not really a whole lot for them here, and now they've got to sort of keep an eye on this top lane. It's being pushed in pretty consistently by Ocean and Gunner, so they're spread out. They've lost their cohesion. This could be a moment where Four Zoomers try to punish it, as Saberlight is alone in the lane. Do they have the damage for this though? Gunner does have the Deso.
Yeah.
They're going to give it a go. They get the arena down into the Spear Stun, into the Meteor Hammer. Saberlight is going to get locked up, and he does have the RP, maybe. No, not going to use it. Supernova comes out instead, so
Moon.
Saberlight taken down. Moon's got to get away. Gunner, though, looking for the Blink Dagger. Just needed one more second, but Moon blinks out first, so he's going to be okay, but Undying will lose a hero, and now that tier 3 tower, it's still only got 33 HP, so Four Zoomers could look to push it out, but for now it looks like they're sort of regrouping in that north side jungle. They'll take the outpost first, so there's no TPs in behind them. Now they can sort of group up for that high ground.
And really, after that smoke play fails, it's just another 1 or 2k gold lead tick in their direction. Brax now has a Blink Dagger. He's going to be able to be that sort of secondary initiator for his team. They already have such good defensive power, so it makes complete sense. Now he's going to try and get in there, and these roars have been so good. It's so obnoxious to try and kill this egg whenever now you not just only have the arena, but it's the arena, it's the overgrowth, it's the roar, it's the fact that you're going to have the Sammy Boy Luna hitting you. Undying, they really can't take a fight where they don't start it. If ever Four Zoomers are the ones getting aggressive onto you, you are going to lose that fight, especially now with Sammy Boy making his way towards that BKB. Once he has it, again, they need to let their sort of skill carry them. If Undying have even a misplay, a slight miscommunication where their execution just goes off bad, it is going to mean that they lose the team fight very handedly. And as this net worth sort of increases on the Four Zoomer side, you have a Deso, you already have, or you're working towards that BKB on Luna. This building is just going to die if they're not lucky.
Dying in clearing out the Dom-helmed creep, I suppose. That's going to get them a little bit of money, but that's all they can really afford to do right now. As they're trying to reestablish control in that north side jungle, they take the outpost for themselves, and to a certain extent, if you're Undying, this isn't horrible for you. I mean, you're down by nearly 10,000 net worth, but Ryle is still building himself up. You've still got the Faceless Void farming. You've still got Saberlight with the Empower play here. So while they are sort of falling behind, if this really truly goes later into that maybe sort of 35-40 minute mark, Undying are potentially going to get a second wind here with that farming rate. It seems like at some point they're going to at least start catching up to their opponents. So if you're Four Zoomers, don't feel rushed. Don't feel like you need to make the play right now, because that's how they could end up sort of making mistakes. But you do have to sort of watch that clock at least a little bit here. You can't afford to give too much time in between your sort of assaults. Otherwise, Undying are going to be sort of making the most of that efficiency-wise with the Empower plays.
And that's where their cores are sort of being able to catch up. But again, Saberlight, he hasn't been taking it for himself. It really has just been Bryle and Tomato taking that farm, and they've got a Hawk. If Bryle shows up on this wave, ooh, got lucky.
Very sort of swift blink there as he was able to get himself back. So Bryle will remain alive for now, but that's going to buy a little bit more time. Right now, Four Zoomers, they're still grouped up. They need to decide what it is they want to do, other than just maybe waiting. Roshan is back up in about 45 seconds, so that is technically speaking a viable play, but right now, what is this? Ocean running into Bryle. He's going to hit him up with that Atos. The Ice Blast, maybe if that hits, you can go in for it, but without it, they don't really have the shot at the kill. But you're going to keep Phoenix and the Creep Wave away from their top lane of Rax, and it really does feel like it's just a stall tactic right now for Undying, but Four Zoomers are pushing their way towards the middle lane. They want to fight. If they can spot Saberlight, they hit him up with the spear. He does have the Greaves, but he can't use it, obviously, while he's still stunned. But trying to wait for the right moment. Pops the Greaves now, skewers himself away. There's Tomato in for the Chrono, connecting onto two, but Gunner is able to drop down the arena on the other side. Bryle, though, is coming in with the damage from that tree volley, and it will be enough to take out Husky, but Saberlight does get taken down on the other side, so Undying have to fall back, but that Supernova did get deployed in the backline. So Ocean doesn't have that, but not really sure that's going to matter. They took down both Saberlight and Dubu. Now they want more.
Sammy.
This is an
They're going to go back
one.
in.
Tomato. How much can he really do here? Finger of Death coming in. Sammy Boy dropping low. They're going to try to get onto him. Blink forward with the Avalanche into the toss. Sammy's taken down. Brax in trouble as well. Or excuse me, Gunner in trouble as he is the one dropping low. Ocean is just going to TP out here. Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, no toss for a few more seconds, so he's going to be able to get away. And, well, Brax and Gunner fall back, but they got what they wanted. They pick up, oh god. They pick up Sammy, but Gunner actually went back in. Thought he was just going to clear out, but he sees the opportunity for the kill onto Moon Meander, jumps in forward, and then he'll TP back home after picking up one additional kill.
And really just all of the Hawks, they need to sort of battle away with the Sentry Vision. With the AA, they can definitely sort of take that control back, but now you have dive bombs to deal with. Now you have to deal with that being a 15-second cooldown. It's really obnoxious, but perfectly played from Brawl there. He was able to get that counter kill onto the Luna, knowing she didn't have BKB, and this is a little bit crazy from Tomato here, because not only do you have Hawks scouting pretty much all of this out, but Luna is only 15 seconds away, and if he gets taken down here with the spear, yeah. Oh, there is a DD.
Oh, boy. We're going to hand the bottle over to Tomato, so he is going to be saving that, and I don't know, to a certain extent, I thought maybe they'd give it over to Ryle. He does have the tree volley, so with the DD rune, maybe that could have done a little bit more, but they would rather have Tomato sort of going all in once that Chronosphere is back online. Still about 55 seconds away, but should be able to hold onto that DD rune long enough to sort of get those timed up correctly. And now Undying, I mentioned before, they couldn't really go for Roshan themselves, but they're setting up to contest it if Four Zoomers look to make the play. But Four Zoomers actually want the smoke. This is going to lead them into the potential fight. Can they get into position? Gunner missing with the spear. Saberlight's going to skewer him back. They get the Hex down as well into the Ice Blast at point blank range. Oh, Gunner. He needed that spear. Once he misses it, it's all over for him. He'll be picked off. He's dead for 75. There's no buyback on him right now either. This is about 500 gold short.
And now if they can get rid of all of these Hawks, they're going to be an endless barrage. The fleet is always going to be there, but you can just have this Cloak of Flames hitting it, and they're almost faking that they're hitting Roche here. They're trying to put Four Zoomers under a lot more pressure, but he pops the DD, and it's time.
But it's going to be the response from Four Zoomers. They have to do it without Gunner for another 50. There's a Roar, there's a Supernova, they've got the Eclipse, the Overgrowth is there as well, so I don't know. They could do it, but they need to sort of pull the trigger. They need to know exactly when they're going in, as Ocean is looking for it, but going to commit just yet. Meanwhile, Roche down to about a third of its HP as Saberlight does get stunned up there, but Sammy stuck in the middle of the fight. Tomato, though, is going to throw down the Chrono. They catch out that Supernova. Can they bring down the Egg in time? They need a little bit more, and they've got it.
Oh.
Egg is down. Sammy's in trouble. RP coming through, connecting onto two. They've taken Sammy Boy down. They're in onto the Treant Protector as well, as Tomato will get that final kill, and now he's immediately back into the pit looking to take down Roche. That was the perfect execution for Undying.
That's like everything. That feels like the whole bag. The whole kid and caboodle is now in Undying's side. They really threw away everything, and not having buyback on Gunner, it's not his fault, but going for that non-committal spear play where you try to maybe get one hero punished and then not being prepared for Saberlight, who doesn't even have a Blink Dagger yet. He just very simply skewers him into the Hex, and then that team fight where they just hit the egg.
Oh god, they got
All
Brax.
they did was hit the egg.
They find him in the east side jungle. The Ice Blast is coming through. The Finger of Death will be there. Brax, that's... I understand what he's trying to do there with the split push, but he can't afford to get caught. Now, Four Zoomers are so staggered on these respawns, they're not really going to be able to mount any sort of effective defense if they look for the kills as Gunner.
Oh, Gunner.
I don't know about this one. He can get Dubu maybe, but that might not even be worth it. Dubu's not even dead.
TP'd out.
Now, Gunner, you got to go. BKB's going to be wearing off here. He needs to fall back. Tomato doesn't want to let him go, but maybe you should at this point. Both the Husky and Ocean are here, so not the Chronosphere. That's not really going to be a play he wants to make, but that is Arena down. That's a BKB charge used, and Gunner didn't get anything for it.
Yeah, and now your map is starting to get smaller and smaller. Sammy Boy, he was making such fast progress towards that butterfly, and now this is the Brow Tiny. This is going to be incredibly annoying to deal with. He's got that status resistance talent now. He's going to work towards that Daedalus. Once he has it, It really feels like this is going to get worse and worse. And you see how many couriers there are at that secret shop. It's these big items just all coming out now from Undying, where their farming is sort of done. We've got what we need. They have a Scotty. They're going to have that Daedalus pretty soon on the Tiny. Sort of these supplemental items on both supports. They're both going for Aeon discs, and there's no real answer for Zoomers. They need to get a picture-perfect team fight. They need to start on someone that isn't Tomato. And if Tomato is able to get 25 this game, I feel like this is just going to be way too hard to kill him. We've seen Faceless Voids be sort of unkillable, and man, throwing the game like that, it's just going to feel awful. It even felt like Tomato almost messed up there, where he chronoed after the egg had already gone off. He didn't feel too effective, but instead, you just perfectly kite out his BKB on Sammy Boy. Even though you get roared on Tomato, there's no pressure on you. And okay, they got Dubu, a little bit of a free play, but Saberlight
over on the other side.
Cool.
Yeah, they're looking for it. Supernova, though, will be thrown out. It's really not going to accomplish all that much. And Ryle trying to sit right on the edge. He was looking for the blink, but a little bit faster reaction times. Tomato, though, was in onto Husky. He and Saberlight are able to combine up forces there, and now they want Gunner. Gunner, he's got to try and get out. Can he somehow get away? The RP is going to be committed, so Saberlight will not let him go. And Gunner's dead. Finger from the high ground from Moonmander will secure the kill, and that's... I mean, some of these plays, it's just kind of wild that Zoomers are this far out without really confirmed vision on some of the cores on the Undying side. Just feels too risky for them, and now the high ground push will come. There are buybacks available, though, for those Zoomers heroes. Pretty much everybody on their side actually has it available, but will they be willing to commit? Tomato is going to get onto the tier 3 tower. He's still holding on to the Aegis for another maybe minute and a half here, and
oh wow, the chunk, just every single tiny hit.
Ryle is an absolute monstrosity.
no.
Is Saberlight, he's in!
Into the Hex!
Oh, that's a problem. The Phoenix will be taken down right away. He didn't have the Supernova anyway, but he's not even going to be able to contribute with a Meteor Hammer, as the Ice Blast even comes through too, so...
Now top, Sammy.
Zoomers don't want to go in. Sammy Boy, though, he's looking for it. Can he somehow get himself out here? BKB has to be popped. Saberlight, though, is in. He's got the... what? Horn Toss actually kind of messes up his skewer play, and now Sammy's just going to go for this.
Wait.
BKB activated. Clip's coming out as well. Saberlight, you got to get out of there. He's going to be able to be saved with the Glimmer from his teammate, but Tomato over on the other side of the map is taking multiple down. Gunner's dead. Husky's gone as well. They've trapped up Sammy. They've got him with the cold feed into the Ice Blast. He's dead.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot.
The gameที่ดี
ET, what the hell just happened? Sammy Boy, BKB wears off, but he's still there.
Oh, and now Moon, and this is just more and more wild, and Tomato is now going to have to sort of get roared back. He's got the Manta.
He's got the Aegis too, honestly, so even if they kill him, I'm not really sure they can do it twice. They're going to be able to get through the first life. Nope, Tomato, not even going to let him have that. Time walking himself away. The dive bomb, though, locks him down, but Brax, I don't know, what else can he do? Tomato actually jumping forward. That seems a little risky, but again, he's got the Aegis for 25 more seconds, so if he dies here, so be it. He's going to be right back up into the fight. Undying really feeling like they have an opportunity. They're trying to either take the racks or maybe bait out the buyback from the Luna, potentially even both, depending on the circumstances, as they will push their way forward.
Yeah, he just wants to die. He's just going to get all the way healed back up.
There's the Aegis going down, but the melee racks will be falling. And if your Zoomers here, what's the play? Gunner's still dead for 40. The Luna really doesn't want to buy back, but while she's waiting, you might lose a second lane here, as Undying are going to rotate all the way top.
I think they're going to learn from their mistake. They're going to have to wait for their Mars, but this just means that there is going to be no rebuttal. You might try to look for some exit kill, perhaps on
Husky.
Moon. And oh, Husky, you're a little bit crazy.
Saberlight, oh,
just barely.
That's the second time now. He did that once onto Sammy up in his base as well, where the Horn Toss actually kind of ruins the combo. He probably would have had the skewer if he just went in for it immediately, as the Ice Blast is coming through. The Finger of Death is there. Sammy Boy's dropping low. Can they bring him down? RP canceled by the Roar. Good play from Brax. Saberlight will fall. That is going to be enough for them to hold the line. Dubu, though, is a little bit too far forward, so he should be taken down here, but the rest of Undying will be making their retreat. As Brow, did he go back in? Oh god, he's caught. He's got the cheese, maybe? No, not even going to really go for it. Doesn't get the opportunity. Zoomers take him down, and that... This feels like he's trying to do a little bit too much there. He will be taken down. That's going to effectively sort of reset things here in the base, but... It's a reset that Undying are still going to be relatively happy with. Even with 3 of their heroes going down, they have swung out to a 9k net worth lead, and it's not like Zoomers can immediately push for Roche and then try to get onto their opponent's side of the map. Their options right now are kind of limited.
And I think the bigger issue right now is, do you have buybacks on the Undying side? Yes, you do, but Sammy Boy is 100% going to force it. He just got his butterfly delivered out to him. There's a Solar Crest, there's a Meteor Hammer. This is where you just kind of threw away the game a little bit on the Undying side, where if Moon isn't able to get this initiation off, they might need to sort of dive a little bit crazily to keep them off your base, because Sammy Boy might just sit here and hit. They have to be pretty cautious with how they engage here, because there's still no Tiny for 40 seconds. Their shoe is really on the other foot now, because I don't think they can defend this Rax.
Moon in with the
Oh, they're
Hex
just
buybacks
back.
there. The Chrono's down. They've got Sammy. Gonna hit him up with the Ice Blast as well. They need the damage. Where is it? The Tree Volley is coming through. They're gonna try and bring this one down. Sammy's still fighting though. BKB active, but the RP is gonna lock him down. And Sammy Boy, he is not going to be able to survive. He is dead. They lose Husky as well. Buyback's not available for the Four Zoomers hero, so Gunner, he's got to get out of here. He's going to try to use the Spider Legs to get over the wall, but Tomato right in onto him. Gunner has to sort of double back, but that means he's stuck.
And I don't think they're going to call it, but that might just be it.
Yep.
And really just Undying, they make the perfect call. They say, we'll buy back on one hero. We're going to let you get this Chronosphere off. And at this point, you didn't have Egg. You used it top. They just went without any of their abilities. I know they needed to wait for that Mars to respawn before they would be able to even have the confidence that this egg would go down, but now you bought out on Sammy Boy. You are dead for 50 seconds. If they can't end the game, they can at least make it a close call or megas you. I don't think this game looks any brighter for Four Zoomers. I think Undying might have just done it.
I think if they just go for tier 4s, they've got it. Yeah, they're going straight in for it. Tier 4 towers under attack. They've got the backtrack talent up now on the Tomato Faces Void as well, so even if someone does respawn, they're not really going to be able to lock this one down. As Saberlight, this is... no. Don't just go for the tower. Really, the kill on the Phoenix is not going to be a difference maker. You just need to go in for that objective.
Got Glyph in 9. This is just the worst case scenario.
Just hit the towers, boys. Don't overcomplicate this one as Phoenix
no.
pushes in for the Supernova. The Roar will come through. They're not able to take it down just yet. They're not going to be able to take it down at all. Stun comes through. Tomato, well, just going to turn his attention back to the Ancient, or maybe not. They're not hitting it. The only one here is Bryle right now, and he doesn't have the attack speed to really bring it down. So Four Zoomers, they may have been able to hold the line, but the overgrowth in from Husky, that may have been a little bit too ambitious. He's going to get hit up here. Finger of Death comes through. Husky will fall to get the Hex down onto Brax as well, locking him down. Shockwave pulling him in. Bashes out from Tomato. He's going to try to bring this one in, and Brax will be taken down. Meanwhile, Ice Blast connecting onto Sammy. They get him up with the Earth Spike as well. Tomato jumping in. BKB active, though, from the Luna. Not going down without a fight, but without the Eclipse, he doesn't really have all that much damage, and his teammates continue to dive around him as Gunner is going to drop down the arena, but he gets Hex up immediately into the Tree Volley. They're just losing way too much here. Sammy's going to go down, and Gunner, once again, the last man standing. The BKB's not going to be enough to really save him, as the GG will finally be called, and it's going to be Undying taking the match and taking the series.
And really, we felt like these were the two teams to watch out for, the NA rivalry, the teams that sort of really put this tournament off to a good start, but man, Undying, they just worked you. And for Zoomers, it all comes back to that push where they threw away their lead so hard. It was really just Gunner. He made one spear play without buyback, which baited his team into fighting around that pit. And we've seen, again, Four Zoomers do not mix well with AA and Void and playing around the pit. I feel like Undying, even in the game yesterday where we saw them win versus that Sammy Boy TB, it's the exact same situation. They get baited to fight into and around the pit. They feel like they can't give it up. And even though they had that Aegis for so long on their side, it felt like they had such a huge advantage, it didn't matter. They weren't able to get those objectives. They never felt comfortable enough to push into high ground. And Undying, they were a very patient Undying. They were a very quiet Undying, but they were able to get those correct spells, those correct skewer plays, really just every single time Saberlight got a skewer into Hex, those key heroes were just taken off the board. I felt like Four Zoomers, they just weren't able to play their game plan. There were very few fights where 5 heroes get to stay alive, get to cast all their abilities. Undying played the exact aggressive game they needed to play, and we already said how close these teams are, and I'm sad we're not going to a Game 5, but Undying, they just played so great.
Yeah, seeing a Game 5, obviously, would have been fantastic, but to a certain extent, Undying, I mean, they deserve to take it. They show that sort of perseverance. There was a moment where things were getting real rough for them, but they don't give in. They make some mistakes, but they're able to sort of wait it out for Zoomers making some mistakes of their own. And at the end of the day, we talked about this at the start of this game, at the start of the series even, that it was going to come down to who executed the game plan that little bit better, who made the fewest mistakes. And as sort of normal and boring and cliche as that sounds, that is what it came down to. These two teams were so close skill-wise, it was just going to come down to who made the fewest mistakes, and it was Undying here in Game 4, as they were able to sort of make it happen, and they take this one 3-1. Actually, the exact score that they lost by in the Pro Series 5. So they get a little bit of revenge here with that 3-1 victory, and Undying are officially champions. They get that revenge. They sort of come out on top among this sort of field of NA and SA squads, and this is really probably the best possible showing for them in terms of that sort of skill level heading into the TI qualifiers. Undying are looking unbelievably strong.
Yeah, and this is the best practice you realistically are going to get with that tournament pressure, with that sort of gameplay on the line, and they 100% delivered really on all fronts, specifically just Bryle. He was consistently good in pretty much all 4 games. Even the game they lost, it felt like he was really the hero that was holding down the fort for such an incredibly long amount of time. But even players like Saberlight and Tomato, they just both played fantastically. Even Dubu, you got to give props to the man for playing 3 AA games out of the 4 that they ended up playing. And again, this team, it just feels so solid. They're always holding down each other. They're always able to make these crazy plays, and winning with 3-4 initiators. I mean, they just got to play Dota the exact way they wanted to.
And I mean, it works out almost exactly the way that we described. Undying were able to sort of come in from every possible angle. Bryle's making plays. Saberlight, Blink Dagger was maybe a little bit slower than you normally would have expected, but once he had it, he was in there for the RPs. Moon Meander just throws himself face first into some of those engagements for the lockdown, and the hexes absolutely massive there from that line. Without a lot of that lockdown, 4Zoomers get quite a few more opportunities to turn that one around. So every member of Undying knew what they needed to do. Everyone was able to do it with relative consistency. There were maybe a couple of mistakes here and there, but it all sort of works out for them in the end, and Undying are able to play cleanly enough to snag that one out.
Yeah, and now, I mean, going forward, again, we didn't really see those pocket strats. We didn't get to see those ideas where maybe if you are in TI qualies, you're playing those best of ones, where we might see a little bit more strategy involved. But I also can't imagine that we're not going to see a patch before the TI qualifiers get underway. But still, Undying, if they could do this in TI qualies, I definitely think they've got a shot. But not to discount Zoomers. I mean, they really gave Undying a run for their money. And of course, knocking them down 2-1 yesterday, Zoomers could definitely take Undying, or they could take games off of Undying, not very easily, but I felt like matchup-wise, 4Zoomers really would have been the ones to sort of beat Undying. I think this time around, it's just those little misplays, that little bit of sort of lack of experience where, again, 4Zoomers, they didn't do a lot of losing at this tournament, and I think that experience might have played against him a little bit. In that previous tournament, BTS Pro Series 5, we saw Undying knock him down 2-0 in the upper bracket playoff finale. So maybe 4Zoomers getting a little bit complacent, getting a little bit too ahead of themselves. And I am a little bit sad we couldn't see another Ember Spirit performance out of Gunner, but you know, stuff happens. Can't control everything in the game, but Undying, just super sound victory.
And now we do have a post grand final interview to get to here. We've got Tomato from Undying, obviously the winning side, so we are going to be pulling him in here in just a moment to have a bit of a chat with us. Hold on just a second. Let me get him on in here. Okay, there we go. Oh, Tomato, welcome back. Nice to talk to you again. Congratulations on winning it all. Fantastic performance from you and the boys.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me, and thank you. Yeah, it was a fun grand final.
So, first and foremost, you mentioned sort of a ways back here, we were sort of asking you about some of these teams. You mentioned 4Zoomers, a squad that you felt was sort of one of the teams kind of in that try-hard mode here in this event leading up to the qualifiers, but they were able to take you down in the upper bracket final. You put up a good fight, but now you fight your way back through both the lower bracket final and now this series, taking it 3-1. Did you guys feel like you needed to elevate your game that little bit more, or was this just a matter of you just sort of breaking through with what you had been sort of working with previously?
I think we hit some kind of breaking point during the finals when we lost 2-1. All like the way we lost is, I mean, we stayed up like 7 hours last night to watch replays, and we kind of just flaming each other. It was one of those like long conversations you have with your team, and don't everyone just like it started from like, guys, you guys want to watch the replay, and it's like, sure, we can watch game 3, and then it ended up being like, I'm tired of you doing this, and then like people are yelling at each other and they want to kill everyone. But I thought that was good. We realized a lot of things that we were doing because we were playing so bad. We were playing so bad in the winter finals. But I also think that Sumer have improved a lot. I said this grand final was pretty fun because I thought they put a really good fight. I think Ocean and Brax have improved a lot, especially because I lane against them. And comparing it to the beginning of season 2 and now, I think they've improved a lot on their picks and their playstyle. They're definitely a team with good ideas. Um, and but I think today we played very well. I'm very proud of my teammates. I think Brow played really well. I think Sir played pretty well, and we kind of snowballed the. Sometimes you snowball something, and it's like you start feeling good, and then you kind of commend your team. You're like, we'll play," and it just snowballs. When that happens, I think it's like the best thing that can happen for a team. That would always lead you to success, and it kind of happened to us today. So I think that had a lot to matter. Because last time we lost to them, and last time we lost to them, we were so tilted. We were not in the same environment we had today. Sorry for long answer.
Oh, that's absolutely great. Thank you. But I do sort of like hearing that. I mean, anyone who's tried to play anything Dota competitively from ranked to actual pro matches will have that moment where you and your teammates end up sort of, as you said, getting pissed off, saying, I'm sick of you doing X, Y, and Z. But for you guys to be able to turn that into sort of a cathartic moment, to use my big word of the day, sort of rounding that corner. And you guys looked like you were on a different level. I don't really know how exactly to describe it, but between that previous series and now this grand final one, it just looked like you always had that exact idea of what you guys wanted to do and how you were going to do it. So whatever you guys sort of put together in that room with that sort of replay analysis, it worked out fantastically. You are playing better than anyone else in this event, and it showed.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're putting a lot of work these past seasons, and I can speak for myself, but also for like rest of my team that everyone's just been really frustrated with the result we've gotten. We put in so many hours and so many scrims, so many pups, and there's just like no results. So that can always lead to frustration, and we got exploded last night. But I think the talent's there. I really think my team is really good. They're very smart, they're very talented, and the potential is there. It all comes down to clicking, like you said. Today we clicked and it looked good. Hopefully, for the next time we have to perform, we click. So we're gonna work on that. That the next time there's an important match, we're gonna click and we PMA, good environment, no emo, no flaming each other, no griefing your teammates game, and just like enjoying the game and playing good Dota for the viewers too. Cause like, wanna there's like a lot of viewers watching the grand final, right? Want to put on a good show so people don't keep like talking bad about any Dota because it's not.
Really carrying the torch for the region right now, so do always appreciate that. I do want to ask you one thing in particular, though. So you guys lost game 2 to a strat that you basically just kind of copied in game 3. Obviously, there were a little bit of differences, but for the most part, it kind of felt like you took what 4Zoomers had deployed against you and then just sort of said, okay, now it's our turn. Was that a conscious decision at the end of game 2? Did you sort of think to yourselves, all right, we're gonna run what they ran against us and just do it better?
Mm, More than looking at them, because I don't think it's good to just copycat what the enemy did. Like, you lose game 2 and you're like, oh my god, guys, this smart hero is like so OP, guys, can you just pick it? That can work, but that can also backfire because it's just like kind of brainless the way you want to pick the hero. We kind of more like, remember when I told you that we were gonna look at the major? It had a lot to do with this, because like last time when kind of flaming, he was like, what the fuck are you buying X on Medusa? And I told him, well, I want my last pops with it, and I think the 15 talent's nice. But then and he's like, no, it's just not good. And he was right. I look at the major and the other Medusa are doing a completely different build, which I thought is fine, but I didn't particularly think it was the build. And it just more related to Moon is a really smart guy and he understands the meta really well, so he gets a good takeaway from the major. And I think the heroes we pick are really good. Like we we got the good heroes, man. That's what I can tell you.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
they had them game 2. They had them game 2, right? This Medusa hero is kind of stupid. I think everyone on Twitch chat is like, "Oh, Medusa hero so boring," but the teams pick it because I don't know, it just works. It wins you the game, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the Twitch chat's gonna be Twitch chat, right? But yeah, just
Uh-huh.
pick what works, go with it, and if it gets you wins, you're not gonna argue with those results. And you on that Medusa, I mean, across the entire series, actually, as a whole, I think I was sort of doing some math here. It took me a little while, but you died 4 times in the series. Not in a game. Across the whole series, you had 4 deaths. Like, when you are playing, how often do you reach that point where you're realizing you're this efficient, you're nigh unkillable? Do you sort of get that instance? Do you tell your teammates, like, I'm going to lead us into this. They can't really bring me down. Let's just go.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows that at some point of the game, each one has to lead. Like, supports tend to lead the early game, and then mid lanes kind of leading the tempo of the mid game. It's like, guys, TP here, we can kill this guy. And then it's my job when I hit my timings, and when I feel like I'm strong, it depends on the game and the hero, but when I have it, it's my responsibility to take over the game. And I definitely, I didn't think I played well today. It's kind of funny, but yeah, I mean, I had a few deaths because I think my team did an amazing job in buying me the space. And once I had the space, I got the items and I make the calls, and then we're team fighting. So that's what it's like here. It's like fun. It's very organized the way you play the game.
Yeah, it just looked really, really cohesive, really clean for you guys. ET, anything you want to ask Tomato as well?
I mean, the only thing I've got like two things in my mind is like in those games, of course you guys don't know this, but it's like 2K gold lead for maybe the entire game up until like 30, 35 minutes. Do you guys feel the pressure whenever you're in there, or is there always sort of a sereneness with you where we got to stay calm, we need to be ready for what they're going to do? Do you guys always feel prepared, or are there times where you actually do get caught off guard, you get sort of freaked out, or you don't feel how close the game actually is?
Uh, we don't freak out with how the game feels, because when you're in a good mindset, you kind of believe in your teammates that you take this one fight, you're gonna turn it around. Like even the boy game, we didn't know we were down like 10,000 gold minute 20, and it didn't feel like it because everyone was in like a winner's mentality. So we were just waiting for this one fight. We're gonna TP the tiny. We're gonna get the RP, the chrono. It's just gonna happen. So even if it was 20,000, we felt like it wasn't that big of a lead that could stop us. But that's kind of a mental thing. But the way we thought, it's like, for example, the Grey King game, there was a moment where like we jumped the Medusa next to a triangle, and we kind of misexecuted because of miscommunication. So I didn't press the stone fast enough, and she got a stone gaze, and then we got wiped. That really hurt us, like morale wise. It was like, oh my god, the Medusa should have died there. We messed up. Now we lost our lead. Now we're also snowball. So I think it comes down to how good your teammates' attitude is, how positive you are, because like, it can be the worst game ever, but if you feel like you're gonna win, it doesn't feel as bad. It matters most. The mentality game, and when it's a grand final.
Yeah, and I mean, what in grand final, you always have more games, right? In well, we didn't see you guys really try anything too different. I feel like really you guys drafted pretty much stuff you've drafted during the entire tournament. Does this mean you guys have even more strats? Is there more ideas that you weren't able to sort of bring out of the bag, or at least Four Zoomers didn't force you to bring out any of those sort of crazier ideas?
Mm, I think yes, we always have like another card up the sleeve, but like I'm telling you, the Summers, I think they've improved a lot, and they're not an easy team, so we kind of picked our best. We kind of went with like we can take this hero or this hero, and then it's like, nah, just pick the strongest. This hero is like dumb, just go for it, because we really wanted to win today.
Oh yeah, you guys always seem to get those broken heroes. It's actually crazy. Is Doobie okay? He's played like AA like 70% of his games.
He doesn't mind of it. Don't love it. Like if he's gonna get, he could get the same hero for like 5 games straight. But as long as he win, he's happy to do it for the team. That's a nice trait that he has.
Nice. The sacrificial 5 player. What a good guy. That's all from me, man. Thanks for talking with us.
Okay, thanks for having me at the fun tournament. Thanks for inviting us too.
Very much, Tomato. Nice to hear from him here in victory as Undying are able to get themselves some revenge. They avenge their loss in the upper bracket final. They avenge their loss back in the Pro Series 5 as well. And, well, I mean, they're the champions. They take it. They are the winners of the LootBet Pro Series 6 America's Division. And, well, presumably now they're just going to be sort of marching on. Those TI qualifiers are on the horizon. And Undying and Four Zoomers really appear to be the two best teams in their region who, obviously aren't already already potentially locked into a TI spot. So gonna be nice to see them sort of duke that one out in the regional qualifiers as well. But for now, that is actually gonna be it. Grand finals done and dusted. Undying get the 3-1 victory. So we have come to the end of this event. It has been a pretty wild ride here so far. I have enjoyed myself, ET. I hope you have as well. And any sort of parting words for the lovely folks here as we sort of close this one down?
So high level. Even some of the teams that sort of fell off a little hard, especially coming out of that second DPC season, they're always going to bounce back. They're always going to be running at you. We're always going to see you in our pubs, and we're going to take you down. I mean, best region in the world by far. But aside from the bias, just thank you all for watching, and keep watching Dota. It's so good. It's so fun. It's one of the best games ever. And just keep doing good.
Beautiful game, although I think football might have us sort of on copyright infringement for using that phrase, but it is absolutely incredible. We have teams playing at the top of their game here, and again, I mean, I know we're off the pro circuit, the major's going on right now, there's eyes elsewhere in the Dota world at the moment, but this was some of the best teams in their region, and these are the squads who are going to be fighting for those spots in TI. So it was, honestly a pleasure to be able to watch them. Congratulations once again to Undying. They take it all. They win the grand final 3-1, and they have a little bit of time to celebrate, I believe, before those qualifiers get underway. So for ET and myself, we are now going to be hopping on out of here. So thank you all for being with us through both the group stage and this playoff bracket. It has been absolutely incredible. And as ET said, watch more Dota, pay attention to that NA region, South American squads as well, sort of up and coming here, looking to rise up. So thank you all one last time, and we will see you all in the future.